I am absolutely fuming. I am absolutely fuming. What a collapse. What a major mistake by New York. Shout out to the chat gang. Shout out to Knicks Nation. I see you guys. We're going to get to your comments. This is the post-game show for the Knicks versus Celtics Game 5. Unfortunately, New York had a chance to close it out on the road against the Boston Celtics. Take Game 5, get additional rest, and get ready for Indiana. But unfortunately, like we always have to do, the Knicks need to make life a little bit harder for themselves. So instead of winning it in Boston on the road in Game 5, we now have to take it back. We now have to take it back to MSG to try to win there. And while I'm all great and happy about potentially winning a game in the Garden and closing out the Celtics at home, because that would be a monumental win, and I completely understand that, you never play with your food. You never, ever take your food for granted, especially when you are playing the reigning, defending NBA champions. You don't do that. You take care of them and you handle them, especially when you're in the game. It's a tie game at halftime. I've watched this team for a long time. I know that they've had third quarter collapses before. But what we saw in this third quarter was not only a collapse, it was an absolute massacre by the Boston Celtics to the Knicks. Defense, they played it better. Attacking, they did it better. Shooting the three. Not only did they do it better, but they shot us out of the gym. In part because we allowed them to. When you allow players like Derek White, Jaylen Brown, kid off the bench, trying to remember his name, Peyton Pritchard, when you allow these guys to get open looks from three, they're going to gain confidence. They're going to hit those shots. And magically, they're going to continue to hit those shots, even if they're mildly contested. That's what happened tonight. Oh, and by the way, they went to the line a lot. But that's not the reason why the third quarter was a collapse. It wasn't even because Luke Kornet. You could have bet me $1 million that I would be talking about Luke Kornet on this postgame show. But we have to, because he replaced Kristaps Porzingis. And I don't think that change is going to go anywhere. I think that's going to be the change moving forward for the Boston Celtics. Because if you watch this game, he completely changed everything that the Boston Celtics were doing in that second half. And you might be thinking to yourself, that's the mistake, right, Troy? They didn't play Luke Kornet extremely well. Nope. That is a mistake. It was a problem. We're going to break down all the problems that the Knicks had in this game to cause this issue. A lot of them happened in that second half. But here's where the Knicks lost the game. Completely lost the game. And this one is on head coach Tom Thibodeau. The third quarter, Captain Clutch, Jalen Brunson, picks up 5 fouls. I don't care who you are. I don't care. You pick up 3 fouls straight in a quarter, you're going to the bench. Tom Thibodeau allowed Jalen Brunson to play with 4 fouls that he picked up all in one quarter to stay out there. Then he picks up 5. Okay, now you can go to the bench. Effectively limiting Captain Clutch and his play. 7 minutes into the fourth quarter, our closer is gone. Not because of injury, thankfully, because Tom Thibodeau allowed him to play in that fourth quarter. allowed him to play in that third quarter, picking up 5 fouls. He picks up an early foul in the fourth quarter, and then he's on the bench. Even if we had a chance to come back into this game, and I'm not saying that we did, but even if we had a chance, it was gone once that man fouled out. I don't care. Mikal Bridges could do whatever he wants to do in that fourth quarter, but the reason it works is because you have the star of the fourth. And the star of the fourth is Jalen Brunson. The Knicks made a catastrophic mistake allowing Jalen to stay out there for as long as he did, picking up all of those fouls. And in the process, we lose this game. We lose our closer, and we have no chance of coming back into this game once Jalen Brunson goes down. It was a frustrating game. You probably yelled at your screen a lot. I screamed at my TV, I don't even know how many times. My blood pressure is pretty high. My heart rate is beating right now, but all for the wrong reasons, because I am completely frustrated and upset that we've allowed this to happen, given the Celtics' life, made them think they have a chance now, and now they're going back to MSG thinking that they can go up another game and make this into another competitive series. And I do not want that to happen. When you have a chance to close out a team, even if it's on the road, you do that. The Knicks didn't do that, and not even that. It didn't even look like they were trying to do that in the second half. They gave this game to the Celtics in so many different ways. But that third quarter where the Knicks only score 17 points, you can highlight it as the number one point why the Knicks dropped this game. It was horrible from a coaching standpoint, from a fouling standpoint, from a communication standpoint, from a team standpoint. They're not even talking out there when they're switching, allowing for more open threes. You can't win like that. You can't. You're leaving them open for threes. You're not communicating. Bad coaching, bad substitutions, not putting players in when we need to. And it cost us the game. Horrible effort from the Knicks in that second half. Horrible coaching from Tom Thibodeau in that second half as well, too. The Knicks did not do what they needed to do. They did not close out this game. Now we're playing a game 6 back at MSG. And even though some people might be happy with that, I am furious. Furious. I didn't want to have to play another game at MSG. I wanted the Knicks to rest, recover, and get ready for Indiana. Now, the Celtics think they have a chance. They probably do have a shot. And now the pressure is back on New York to close this thing out in 6 games back at MSG. We're going to look at exactly how the Knicks dropped Game 5, what issues that they did, what mistakes that they made, and all the things they allowed the Celtics to do to stay in this game, gain the confidence, and close out the Knicks in the second half of Game 5. We're going to break down all of these latest things today. If you're enjoying the content, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and make sure you have notifications on as well, too. If you want to support the channel, the easiest way to do that is to hit that subscribe button. And now, let's get started. The Knicks' huge mistake leads to Game 5's collapse, the Boston Celtics winning, and now New York having to play another game. Game 6 back at MSG, and now we're going to have to close out the Celtics again in another closeout game. This game started out pretty competitive. It was pretty good on defense. Wasn't great because the Knicks were still allowing a lot of threes, but I thought at halftime, the Knicks gave themselves the best chance, the best opportunity to close out the Boston Celtics on the road. And I say that because we weren't down at halftime. We were actually tied. So you would think there wouldn't be a collapse. In fact, we would build on this lead, get more stops, and close them out in 5 games. But that didn't happen, did it? We saw what happened. 59-59, right? And then the third quarter comes, and the New York Knicks cannot respond in the way we need to respond. We are allowing the Celtics to attack us. The Celtics, by the way, are playing tremendous defense from the start of that second half to the end of it. When they had their active core players on the floor, their defense was impeccable. They were playing aggressively, playing the passing lanes, blocking shots, making it hard on the Knicks penetrators when they were going inside, even in making it hard on the passes we were trying to make, making it easy for them to get turnovers and then go run in transition. And when they're running in transition and they're open from three, nobody is near them. Jaylen Brown, nobody near him. Derek White, nobody near him. Peyton Pritchard, nobody near him. Al Horford, nobody near him. Nobody near their three-point shooters. You're not beating the Boston Celtics when they're getting an additional rebound. They're passing the ball out to that same shooter and they're getting another look. You're not going to beat the Boston Celtics if they're shooting open threes without any resistance. When you're not playing the defense that you need to play against a team like that, you're not going to win. But more importantly than that, you are not beating the Boston Celtics when you refuse to make the coaching adjustments that you need to make. Let me ask everybody a single question here. Should Mitchell Robinson have not been involved in that third quarter earlier than he was involved in it? Why did we wait till around the 3-minute mark or a little bit after to put him in the game? Towns is already dealing with foul trouble. Why not start the third quarter with Mitchell Robinson? Or, crazy thought, if you see the game getting out of reach, maybe play Mitchell Robinson when they're on a run, stop what they're doing inside, because clearly they were getting to the line at will in the third quarter. Another reason we lost the game. Thankfully, they were missing a lot of them, but it doesn't matter. It matters about the principle. They were attacking inside. And who was their biggest detriment from them attacking inside? Mitchell Robinson. Why was he not in the game? Why did we not play Mitchell Robinson earlier? And then the biggest cluster that I can imagine. I can't even believe it's real. I can't believe this is real. Jalen Brunson picks up 5 fouls in 1 quarter. People criticize me a lot in the comments for going after Tom Thibodeau. Who do I go after? Who would you like me to go after at this point? Who do I blame? Please, somebody please tell me. Who do I blame in this situation right now? My star key closer picks up 5 straight fouls in the third quarter, and I keep him out there to pick up all 5. You don't think 3 is a signal to take him out? Maybe he doesn't have it right now. Let him rest a little bit. We can bring him back later. Kill me all you want in the comments. Come after me all you want in the comments. This game was lost based off of adjustments and allowing players to shoot open threes. I blame the players on the floor for allowing those open threes. Defensive effort, I'm not going to put on Thibs. Jalen Brunson, Karl-Anthony Towns, foul trouble consistently, riding the bench, playing them at wrong times, not understanding when to utilize your depth. That all goes back to Tom Thibodeau. And you can scream at me all you want to. That is coaching, that is adjustments, and that was a failure. You do not do that. You do not let your star player pick up 5 fouls. 5 fouls in 1 quarter. You don't do that. You don't. I don't care what anybody says. You don't do that. And it was one of the main reasons we lost this game. Why? Captain Clutch is gone at 7 minutes. Why? he's playing very hesitant because he knows he has 5 fouls. Why? The entire team knows what we are, where we are, and the foul trouble that we're in. And they're all playing scared and hesitant. I put blame on the players. And when I break down the player minutes, trust me, I'm going to go after some of these players. I promise you. But let's put a focus where we need to here before I go right to the chat. Hear your comments and your take. Am I wrong? Have I lost it? Have I jumped off a cliff? Or am I making some sense here? Should Mitchell Robinson been in the game a little bit earlier when they were on their run in the third? Should Jalen Brunson have been pulled when he got his 3rd foul in the 3rd quarter? Maybe. You let me know. You be the judge. You tell me if I've lost my mind, if I've gone a little crazy. I don't think I have. I think I'm calling it pretty straightforward here. But maybe I'm not. You be the judge. Without further ado, let's go to the chat because I'm going to scream at the top of my lungs if I continue to do this. So I'm going to go to the chat, see what you guys have to say, drink some water here because I'm frustrated, man. I'm absolutely frustrated. A game we could have won that we dropped because of poor decisions, not only from the players, but from the coaching staff. It was a loss from top to bottom. Failure. Jonathan Fleming says, and the refs called cheap fouls. They really did. They really did. But they called it consistently, though, because you saw it in the 4th quarter. We were in the bonus pretty early. So they did call it consistent, in my opinion. As consistent as we're going to get it, I think. It was softer, but it was on both sides. So I can't put it all on the refs. The Meow and Wisdom says, Troy, do you think something was said before the game that made them mentally scramble? Like it might have been Thibs, but he usually is the one igniting the team. Is there something we're not seeing? That's a good question, actually. I don't think it's anything like that. I mean, what other motivation do you need besides closing out a team on the road in game 5 when you have a chance to rest and get ready for the ECF? I mean, I don't know what other motivation that you need. There shouldn't be any pep talks. There should be, we're about to go to the ECF. Lock in. I mean, I can't think of anything. Their body language looked bad in the 4th quarter, but that's because they were defeated at that point already, though. Shirley Brown says, Big Cat needs to be more responsible on the offensive end and let Big Mitch handle the defense. That's a very good point. I felt Karl-Anthony Towns was a little bit too focused on some defense, a little too focused on some rebounds. He's not letting the game come to him a lot. I feel like he's forcing things a little too much, and I don't like that with Karl-Anthony Towns. He's best when he's playing with what the defense is giving him. I thought he had a lot of opportunity tonight to drive, a lot of opportunity tonight to bang down low. He didn't really do any of that. Didn't take advantage of his mismatches, but it's also on the Knicks. The Knicks weren't really looking for him. They didn't run anything for him. It was really the Jalen Brunson and Josh Hart show for a little bit of that time. And thankfully for Josh Hart, that's the one person that you watch tonight and you look at, you're like, he gave everything on the floor. Josh Hart, I look at Josh Hart, I think to myself, well, I mean, I can't hate the entire team. That man had a bloody face because of how hard he was playing and still played. Put a Band-Aid on it and played. I mean, that man is amazing. Let's see here. Odd Brothers. Will the Knicks win the next game? Do you believe they're going to beat Boston? I hope so, man. I believe the Knicks win game 6. I do. I believe they do it in front of their fans. And I also believe the Knicks give the city the biggest win we've ever had in decades. But I didn't want it to go back to MSG. I didn't want it to go that way. And maybe the Knicks were confident, maybe overconfident. Maybe they thought, okay, we can play a little bit because, you know, we have this lead. I don't know. I don't think they would do that. I think they really just dropped the game because the Boston Celtics came out a lot stronger and tougher in that second half. And I don't think they were ready for that level of defense. It really scrambled what they tried to do. Daraz says, Cat need a tougher mentality. I don't know if it's just his mentality, though. I wouldn't just say it was that. I think it's more about having the ability to understand, all right, I'm not doing much right now. I got to get myself more involved, calling for the ball, forcing it a little bit more. Because I think when you're down and you're not doing anything, you need to include yourself and involve yourself more. It's also on the coaching staff, though. You got to run some more things for Towns. Junior says, we choking this series. It's over. We don't play well at MSG. All right, I'm not going to say that. Let's hold off on that. Let's say we're not. All right. Let me, this is a post-game show. So with post-game shows, we break down the game. And if the game is bad, it's going to sound like a bad situation, which it is. But it doesn't mean that the Knicks are not in this series. We got to remember, we lead this series 3-2. We still hold the lead. We have home court advantage, and we plan to use it to our advantage for Game 6. So I wouldn't say the series is over. In fact, I would say the Knicks have more pressure to close it out, and hopefully they feel that pressure and respond to it. It's actually a great test for this team, so I'm actually waiting to see how it happens. Nobody wanted to be here. Obviously, you want a Knicks in 5. I wanted Knicks in 5. But we're at Knicks in basically 6 at this point, so we're going to have to wait and see what happens. Miguel P says, there is no margin for error against the defending champs and the refs. Thibs isn't doing enough, and the players couldn't bail him out tonight. Harold says, the leprechaun goes down Friday night. I hope you're right, because we need that win. We need the rest, and we need to be able to take on the Indiana Pacers with some level of recovery underneath our belts. One last comment, and then we're going to go straight to the post game again, breaking down some of these key aspects that we have to talk about tonight. Issa says, this was the first time I've seen Jalen Brunson genuinely pissed off. Did you see that sarcastic smile and wave? These refs are against us tonight. Very good comment from Issa there. I did see the Jalen Brunson wave when he was on the bench. If anybody didn't see that or doesn't understand what we're talking about, when Jalen Brunson fouled out, there was a camera that followed him. And on that camera, you looked at it, he had a sarcastic grin, he smiled, and he waved at the camera. Now, I don't know about you guys, but when I saw Jalen Brunson do that wave and smile, I got some chills on my body. And the reason I did is because I know how cold Jalen Brunson is. I know how pissed he was in that moment. And I also understand that he is going to be on a mission come Game 6. We might be in store for another legendary Jalen Brunson game. A Brunson game for the ages, for the books. We might be there. Just hold on and wait to see what happens in Game 6. But going back to Game 5, and before I break down what happened in Game 5, talk about the stats and whatnot, and talk about players' contributions and whatnot, I do want to mention something. Oh boy. This team has what it takes to get to the NBA Finals. When they're coached right, when they play right, when they play together, there's not anything that this team cannot do. But when they're not communicating, when they're not defending, when they're not playing the right way, they can get taken advantage of, they can be beaten, and they can look like a very bad team. A team that looks like they were just thrown together. That, unfortunately, is a weakness for this Knicks team. Something that they have to overcome and something that they need to get past, because it becomes a problem if they're not able to do that. And I wanted to go back to one thing the chat said really quickly, actually. Where was it? What Issa said, actually, there. The sarcastic wave, sarcastic wave from Jalen Brunson. I just want to talk about that. Jalen Brunson looking that angry and that mad when he did that. Like I said, we're in store for a legendary game from Jalen Brunson. It's almost guaranteed, because when he has a bad game, a poor performance, or he does not shine in the way that Brunson wants the player shine, normally the next game, we get a major response. And I think that major response is definitely going to come from Jalen Brunson in game 6. There's no way you can deny him. He is going to be amazing. In the third quarter, though, because there's a lot to talk about for this game. There's a lot to break down. We talked about some of the reasons why the Knicks dropped game 5 already with Tom Thibodeau, some of his coaching issues, the third quarter collapse, all of those things as well too. But one of the key aspects to this game is the ability for the Knicks to guard the 3 and be able to protect the 3 and be able to stop the Celtics from shooting open threes. And they were doing that for the whole game, by the way. Even in the first half, while the Knicks were responding, playing defense, keeping it a game, the Celtics were still hitting open threes, shooting open threes. In the second half, they played better defense, stopped what the Knicks were doing, getting stops on us, running in transition, shooting in transition, playing in transition, and that stopped a lot of what the Knicks were trying to do and trying to run. Got them out of rhythm, took us out of everything that we were trying to get together, and honestly, the Knicks dropped this game because of that. It was because the Knicks just could not respond to what the Celtics were doing in that third quarter. And the third quarter collapse for this game 5 was one of the major reasons, probably the main reason why the Knicks lost this game against the Boston Celtics. There was something else that I wanted to talk about with you guys that has slipped my mind before I want to go to the stats and go to the game and everything like that. One thing else I wanted to talk about. I'm trying to remember what it was. I was talking about Jalen Brunson. Let's see if it comes to me. If it doesn't, we'll just go to the stats. But I really want to cover this. Let's see. What was it? Man, I wish I would remember what it was. Shoot. Yeah, lost it. All right. If I remember it, I'll get back to it and I'll make sure I get to you guys with it. But either way, like I said before, the Knicks dropped this game to the Boston Celtics 127-102. We were absolutely blown off the floor in this game. New York still leads this series, though, 3-2. So if you're wanting to look at something, a silver lining, if you will, the one silver lining you can look at is that the Knicks still hold a lead in this series of 3-2. We have home court advantage. Game 6 is going to be at MSG, and hopefully we can close this out at home. That would be huge. But as of right now, we're talking about a Game 5 loss where the Boston Celtics absolutely went off and destroyed New York. Now, you see in that first quarter, the Knicks were leading 32-30. And then in the second quarter, it was 27-29. Halftime, the game is tied 59-59. And then that third quarter collapse, ladies and gentlemen. 32 points for the Boston Celtics in that third quarter, and the New York Knicks only score 17 points. That is your game right there. That is the game right there in a nutshell. Because look, the fourth, and you can also look at the fourth quarter as well, too. I'll give them the fourth quarter as well, because obviously they destroyed the Knicks in the second half in both quarters. The fourth quarter, the Knicks scored 26 points. The Knicks scored 26 points in the fourth quarter. The Boston Celtics score 36 points in that quarter. They dominated the Knicks in nearly every single area you can imagine in that second half. And the Knicks just did not know how to respond. They did not have an answer for what the Boston Celtics were doing. And like I said, they did it from a number of different areas. The Boston Celtics were better defensively in that third quarter. The Boston Celtics were better on the boards. The Boston Celtics were aggressive. They were passing the ball. They were attacking in transition. They were aggressively getting to the line. The Knicks were not getting to the line as much, but we were fouling. Some of the whistles that the referees were blowing, clearly were not going the Knicks' way, and the whistles could be a little bit better, a little bit more even. But does that mean the Knicks did not earn some of those whistles? They were fouling a lot. They were not keeping them hands to themselves. They were attacking other players by using their hands to either push, shove, use their elbow, use something either on offense or on defense. They would push them. They would shove them. They would try to do something on them, touch them when they were going up for a shot. And that would be called a foul. And we know it's going to be called a foul. The Knicks were doing that constantly during the third quarter. That's why we lost. Sending them to the line. The third quarter collapse. Jalen Brunson not being taken out of that third quarter. Mitchell Robinson not being inserted into that quarter earlier. Karl-Anthony Towns also being in foul trouble and stopping our momentum. Stopping it completely, guys. Completely. Because when he's in foul trouble and he's going off and he has to ride the bench and we have to put out other players, it stops what we're doing. We can't build on that anymore, and we have to wait for him to come back into the game in order to utilize that. And Towns has been in early foul trouble basically this entire series. And he picks up silly foul after silly foul. You cannot do that. In the fourth quarter, it was more of the same of what we saw in the third quarter. It was open shots from the Boston Celtics, them attacking, them being aggressive, them being the better defensive team. Luke Kornet. They didn't even play Kristaps because Luke Kornet was going off, having himself a game, blocking so many shots. He set an NBA record for a player off the bench with blocked shots. Another player who shouldn't be setting NBA records is doing it on the Knicks. It doesn't feel good. It feels terrible having players consistently have records being set on us by players that shouldn't be able to do that. And it's not even Kristaps Porzingis. It's his backup. Luke Kornet, doing it to us. It's absolutely embarrassing sometimes. It's just embarrassing. Going back here, though, you guys can see the game leaders for the Knicks and for the Celtics. Josh Hart, 24 points, 7 of 15 from the field, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. He also, he also shot the three ball extremely well. I couldn't believe it. At one point, it was Josh Hart versus, At one point, I couldn't believe it. It was Josh Hart versus, my goodness, I can't even talk tonight. At one point, I couldn't believe it. It was Josh Hart versus Derek White from the three-point line. A three-point shootout. Could not believe what was going on there. With Derek White, he had 34 points, 9 of 16 from the field. A lot of open threes. He also hit a lot of open threes. But here's where he killed us the most. And it's crazy to think that Derek White would kill you the most from this area. 9 of 11 from the line. He got to the line 11 times. He doesn't normally do that. But he was attacking because the Knicks were allowing him to attack, because they had to go up on him when he was about to shoot the three. And they had to go up on him when he was about to shoot the three. And every time they did that, he would either fake and drive, fake, dribble, drive, and penetrate and pass it to the open shooter. And the Knicks would always be late. Or dribble, penetrate, pass it to one player. The Knicks scramble to that player, likely send two. And then in the corner, Pritchard, open. Horford, open. White, open. Brown, open. Nobody near these guys when they're shooting threes. There was one point in this game. Jaylen Brown dribbles the ball, looks up, dribbles the ball, looks up, sets his feet, and shoots the three like he's in practice. Like he's in practice. That's what we saw. That's what this team gave us tonight in terms of effort from three. It was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing performance and an embarrassing effort from New York. They should not be proud of what they did tonight. The first half, okay, sure, I'll give you that. The second half, it's like they fell asleep. Like they didn't know how to play. Like they forgot how to play with each other. Oh, I remember what I was going to say. The Knicks lost this game for so many reasons, right? They don't talk on defense. They don't communicate. They don't speak. You want to know how I know? First of all, I watch every single game. I'm invested in every game, but I watch, and I watch the switches, and I watch the miscommunication when two players switch on the same player and leave one player wide open. Drew Holiday, fourth quarter. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about. You watched the game, you saw it. He didn't even think he was going to be open. He thought somebody was going to rotate to him. Nobody rotated to him. Shot an open three. So we're not doing anything coaching-wise. We're not making the right adjustments. We're not playing defense. We're not getting the boards that we need to get. And we're not communicating on defense. How do you win? How do you win that game? Now, let's highlight it now for everybody who was waiting for me to highlight it, right? We're going to breeze through this as fast as we can to go right back to the chat because I definitely want to hear your thoughts, guys. These two individuals. We need more from both of these guys. Now, I talked about Cat already for a little bit. I'll mention him a little bit more in a second. But honestly, what the thing I want to talk about right now is OG Anunoby. Because OG Anunoby is gone. I don't know where OG went. I don't know what happened to OG. But clearly he's not with the Knicks anymore because he's not playing like he's available. OG Anunoby tonight, guys. 36 minutes. 1 of 12 from the field. 1 of 5 from 3. 8 rebounds, 6 points, and 2 assists. You heard me right. He was 1 of 12 from the field. That's not good enough. His defense, okay at times. Getting into passing lanes. Had a great block shot on Jaylen Brown. Good defense. That's never going to change. We know that. But if we don't get some type of offensive contributions from our wings consistently, we are going to struggle. He didn't hit a shot basically tonight. Hit nothing. He was open sometimes too and couldn't hit anything. OG Anunoby has not been in demon mode since this series began. I don't know where he is. Defensively, he's been there. But that next level, the level that we saw against Detroit, sometimes that we saw in the regular season, we haven't seen that level of Anunoby yet against the Boston Celtics. And we need to see it. He's capable. He's capable of doing it. So why shouldn't we see it? With Karl-Anthony Towns tonight, he played 29 minutes. A lot of that because he was in foul trouble. He took 11 shots, ladies and gentlemen. 5 of 11 from the field. 1 of 3 from three-point range. He had 8 rebounds. He had 4 fouls and 19 points. Karl-Anthony Towns needs to be more aggressive with his game, more aggressive with his shot, and when you know you're not involved, call for the ball. Just call for the ball. Can you do that? Can you just try to call for the ball and make something happen? I understand you want to play within the flow of the game, but we're down nearly 20. What are you waiting for at that point? You don't think at that point something should be done? You should try to call for the ball? Tom Thibodeau, you don't think you should try to get your big man involved when everybody else is not there, when you just lost your closer? We need to do better. Recognize the mismatches. Communicate. Actually run plays for players that need plays run for them. Tom Thibodeau needs to do more for Cat. This team needs to do more for Cat. But Cat has to do more for Cat. It can't be everybody else's fault. It can't. You have to take some onus on yourself as well, too. Karl-Anthony Towns needs to do better. This is a closeout game on the road. He knew that. We needed a better performance. We didn't get that. Even on the boards, which he's been strong on really for the entire series. He was poor in tonight's game. You got to call it like you see it. And unfortunately, calling it like you see it means we really do have to call it like we see it. So let's go ahead and do that. I hate what I'm about to do right now because I hate calling it like I see it sometimes, but we got to do it. We got to do it. Luke Kornet. Cannot believe he's even featured on the postgame. But he has to be. Luke Kornet off the bench for the Boston Celtics. 26 minutes. 5 of 5 from the field. 9 rebounds. 1 assist. 10 points. This doesn't tell me their blocks, but I'll get you their blocks in a second. I want to get the exact number. Give me a second here. Then type it in and make sure I get the right number. Pretty sure it was like 7, but I want to make sure I got it right. Yeah, 7 blocks. 7 blocks. 10 points, 9 rebounds, 7 blocks. Perfect from the field. Imagine that I have to come on here and talk about this guy, Luke Kornet, not because of a bad thing, because he played phenomenal. Phenomenal basketball from him. He destroyed New York. Destroyed us. Main reason they didn't have to play KP was because that man was terrorizing us, getting rebounds, blocking everything, scoring, a little bit of everything for the Boston Celtics. And I'm pretty sure that Luke Kornet, if he does not start next game, he is coming off the bench next game. I don't even know what happens with Kristaps. No idea. I'm sure they don't even care what happens to Kristaps Porzingis, because at this point, Kristaps has been a 0 for them, and Kornet just gave you 7 blocks and perfect from the field. Biggest impact off the bench from the Celtics besides Pritchard. Insane. Insane. Don't like talking about it. Don't want to talk about it, but I have to give the Celtics credit where they deserve it. Defensively, they were insane. And Luke Kornet's 7 blocks was part of the reason why was part of the reason why their defense was so insane. Hate to see it. Don't want to see it happen to the Knicks. Hate to see it happen to my team, but the Knicks allowed it to happen by allowing the Celtics to stay in that game and allowing Boston to have that much confidence to put that kid in there, and then giving that kid so much confidence because we allowed him to block that many shots, go perfect from the field. Sometimes you can be the worst enemy of yourself when you create these other players to turn up big games against you. Just unfortunate situation for the Knicks in this situation. It's an unfortunate situation that the Knicks are in with Game 5, dropping it in the way they did, in the fashion that they did. But having Luke Kornet have a game against you, Game 5 being labeled the Luke Kornet game, it makes me a little sick. I'm not going to lie. It makes me a little sick. Disgusting. Over to the bright spot for tonight's game, even though it doesn't look like a bright spot. My apologies for everybody who's watching that Wasn't really ready for an image like this. You can turn your face away right now. But in my opinion, Josh Hart is a monster, and I think he deserves everything that he's talking about right now, or that he gets to talk about right now, honestly. Josh Hart tonight, amazing for New York. Just absolutely insane. 36 minutes, 7 of 15 from the field, 5 of 9 from three-point line, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and he had 24 points. Josh Hart tonight was an animal. And he also took a elbow very early on from Luke Kornet. And after he took that elbow, he was gushing out blood from his face. He put a Band-Aid on it, went to the free throw line, shot 2 free throws, played a little bit before Deuce McBride came in for him. But that was insane. What an insane sequence. Josh Hart is the epitome of what this team needs. Everybody, every team wants a player like Josh Hart. Everyone does. We all know that. But not every single team can get a player like Josh Hart. Unfortunate, but not for the Knicks. I'm very happy and thankful, especially on nights like tonight, that we have a player like Josh Hart. He was absolutely phenomenal. And also, talk about heart of the city. Early in that third quarter, him and Jaylen Brown going after each other a little bit, pushing and shoving. I like that. And I like that Hart never backed down. Bloody still looks like he just got in a fight and still wants to battle and fight more. That man right there is built for New York. That's how New York players play, and I love to watch what he does. Tonight's game, silver lining, was Josh Hart for you. He was incredible on every area. He was everywhere. Great defensively at times anyways, but really good on the boards, really good in terms of offensive rebounds, going coast to coast, taking contact. I mean, there's so many good things you can say about Josh Hart, but really, in my opinion, he had himself a game, and I think he needs to be recognized for that. Shout out to Josh Hart. Man, what a game from him. I wish we could have given him a W. This type of performance from Hart required a W. We should have been able to give that to him. It's unfortunate that we're unable to do that, but we move on. Game 6 is still here, and the Knicks are still in the lead. And before I go over to the stats and the minutes breakdown and all that, I want to say this. Yes, it's upsetting. Yes, we dropped the ball. Yes, I am furious right now. But the Knicks are still leading the series 3-2. We still have home court. We're playing game 6 in the Real Garden, MSG, and we have a chance to give MSG the biggest win for New York in postseason history, maybe in about decades now. And I am here for that. I absolutely would love to see that. And no problem at all if the Knicks want to win it that way. I don't want the Knicks to play with their food or do anything like that. But if it has to be done this way, it has to be done this way. But let's not stop believing. Let's not stop thinking that this team can do anything that they put their mind to. Right now is the time we need to believe. I still have full faith that the Knicks will beat the Boston Celtics and go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. I fully believe that. One game is not going to break me, break this team, or break my faith. And in game 6, the Knicks will show you why. But we're still on game 5 right now. We're still breaking down some key aspects. And that brings me to the stats and the minutes breakdown for our players. So let's go ahead and break that down for you guys today, starting with the minutes breakdown. Now, we highlighted some of these players already, so I won't break down everything that they did. I'll just break down the minutes and then break down what the bench did. So Mikal Bridges played 40 minutes, OG Anunoby 36 minutes, Karl-Anthony Towns 29 minutes, Jalen Brunson 33 minutes, did not have an efficient night, and obviously fouled out with 7 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. Josh Hart played 36 minutes, Achua 3 minutes, so nothing. Mitchell Robinson, 23 minutes. I wish that was a little bit higher. Campaign played 5 minutes. Deuce McBride, 29 minutes, and really probably had his best game as a Knick during the postseason, even though it may not look like it from the box score. When I break it down in a second, you'll understand. Landry Shamet, 3 minutes. Tyler Kolek, 3 minutes. Pacome Dadier, 3 minutes. All garbage time for these players, including Achua. Campaign, same campaign minute. Doesn't play that. Excuse me. Campaign, same excuse me. I can't talk right now. Campaign, same campaign minutes. Nothing really changes. He only plays a few minutes each and every game. Anyways, that happened again. And then, like we see here, PJ Tucker, Ariel Hukporti, and DeLon Wright, all DNPs, coach's decision. That is your minutes breakdown at this point in time. I want to talk about McBride before we go to Mitchell Robinson. So with Deuce McBride, he's struggled this entire postseason. But I thought during this game specifically, he was able to ball out in a way that nobody really expected. No one expected him to do what he was doing off the bench during this game. Now, it's not to say that we didn't expect it at all, because we know what he's capable of. But during the he was capable of that during the regular season. During the postseason, we haven't really seen that Deuce McBride. But finally tonight, I feel like we got a small glimpse of what Deuce McBride, a small glimpse of what Deuce McBride can be for this team. Instant offense off the bench, great defense. He can make sure he puts pressure on your best shooters. You'll love to see that. His level of commitment on the defensive end, shooting when open, being aggressive, attacking, the Knicks actually finding him, trying to get him more shots. That is the Deuce McBride that we need. That's the role we need to see him play. And I love that the Knicks were trying to get him more involved during the minutes he was on the floor. And clearly, 29 minutes, the reason he played that many minutes is because he was impactful and effective when he was out there. But he also played heavy minutes as well, too, because Jalen Brunson was in foul trouble and the Knicks as a whole was in foul trouble. So you needed to have other players out there that you trusted and also that can play defense. And Deuce McBride, he definitely does that. But I definitely was impressed with Deuce off the bench tonight. If we can get more games like this from Deuce in the future, maybe upping his scoring a little bit more, getting him more opportunities, I think it could mean a world of difference for this team and what we're able to do, what we're able to contribute on a scoring level overall for this team. The Knicks are going to need this each and every game for the postseason. So the better that Deuce McBride can be off the bench, the better New York will be. But going back to the bench again and going back to another player that played significant minutes off the bench like he normally does, that's Mitchell Robinson. 23 minutes off the bench, 8 points and 13 rebounds. And I promise you, his effect on this game, it's so easy to undersell. It's so easy to undersell what Mitchell Robinson did to this game. But I'm not going to do that. Mitchell Robinson, during this game, he's just incredible. When he's on the floor, the Knicks defensively are a way better team. And I think if they utilize the lob threat that Mitchell Robinson gives you more often, they would be even more dangerous on offense as well, too. But they're going to have to use these things. But Mitchell Robinson, key rebounds, key block shots, putting that fear in opposing players, opposing penetrators, stopping the Boston Celtics dribble drive game, doing all of those things. And the ability to stay in front of defenders, making it hard on them, putting a big body in front of them, putting a hand in front of them. These are all key things that matter defensively that Robinson does that unfortunately nobody else on this team can do, looks like they're willing to do, or is even at the size of Robinson able to do it like Robinson. That's why Robinson right now, off the bench, is such a key player because of all the intangibles that he gives to the Knicks and what he does off the bench. And I think he should be playing a lot more than 23 minutes. His impact and everything he gives New York when he's in the game, he should be playing at the very least 25 minutes, if not much more. Because when he's on the floor, New York looks like a better team, and they look like a team that can beat the Boston Celtics. When he's not in the game, the Celtics look like they have the Celtics look like they have, what's the word I'm looking for? Right there. The Celtics look like they have a full ride, a full pass, just a full lane in there where they can attack, they can drive, they can do anything that they want to do inside the paint when Robinson is not there. Even though the Knicks are trying to switch, trying to make it difficult, it doesn't work. But if the Knicks put Mitchell Robinson in there, the way he switches, the way he's able to read the defense and able to break them down, it's different for New York. He's better out there. And that's why New York needs to do a better job of involving him more when we need his help. We should have absolutely played Mitchell Robinson more than 25 minutes tonight in Game 5, especially in that third quarter when the Celtics were making their run. That was a key adjustment Tom Thibodeau could have made, should have made, but didn't make. And it caused the Knicks to collapse even further in that third quarter because we couldn't stop what they were doing and we couldn't generate anything ourselves. That is a coaching adjustment. That's a Tom Thibodeau decision that, in my opinion, was a major problem, a mistake, and one of the things that cost us the game. You have to respond to what is happening out there. If they're doing well, making a run, going after it, and the game is getting out of reach, then you respond by putting one of your best defenders out there that the Celtics have no idea how to handle, how to do anything with, who was hitting free throws, actually hitting his free throws tonight. So clearly Hakamich wasn't even working for them. So there was no reason to not put him in the game earlier when they were making that run. It's just unfortunate because I thought Mitchell Robinson had an amazing I thought Mitchell Robinson had an amazing game, another great game, a solid game. Could have probably had a better game if the Knicks looked for him more on offense and utilized that lob threat. Utilized him more in certain situations on defense. Played him more when we needed him more. But that didn't happen. Those switches didn't happen. And unfortunately, we're talking about Mitchell Robinson playing 23 minutes in a loss. Never something you want to talk about. Now, we broke down the minutes. We talked about some key players. Let's go ahead and break down the stats at this point here. We're not going to break down all the stats because honestly, this postgame has gone a little bit long. I'm going to go to the chat really quickly after I break down these stats. And then we're going to go to the roundup really right after that. And then jump to the end of the show as best as we can here. So as you can see here, the one stat that should jump out to you right away is the overall shooting from the field. The Knicks shot 35.8% from the field. The Boston Celtics shot 52.4% from the field. From three, the Knicks shot 40%, but they allowed the Celtics to shoot 44.9% from the field. The Celtics put up 49 threes, and they hit 22 of them. The Knicks only put up 30 threes and hit 12 of them. From the line, the Celtics got to the line 26 times. In comparison, the Knicks got to the line 40 times. They made their free throws, 32 out of 40. The Boston Celtics, 17 out of 26. They really missed their free throws. 65% from the line for them, but they still were able to win. 44 rebounds to the Knicks, 40 rebounds. The Celtics were able to win the defensive rebounding battle, out-rebounding the Knicks on the defensive boards, 32-28. Offensive rebounds were even, though, with assists. And you guys can look at all the other stats here if you want. You can pause the video right now and you can look at all the other stats that are key here for why the Knicks lost this game. But I already reviewed the two reasons why. free throws, three-point percentage, and also overall shooting as well. That's why the Knicks were not able to win this game. But my favorite stat, and another reason why New York dropped Game 5 against the Boston Celtics. The Knicks don't pass the ball enough. Still don't pass the ball enough. The Boston Celtics as a team tonight had 27 assists. The New York Knicks had 17 assists. We are not moving the ball enough. It is too much isolation, too much dribble into the late shot clock, and then trying to make something happen, trying to move the ball at that point, and nothing happens. And one pass is not ball movement. It's not. That's not moving the ball. Moving the ball is moving the ball all around the perimeter, finding the best available shot and taking that shot if it's available. We're not moving the ball like that. We didn't move the ball like that all night long. 17 assists is a travesty. It's horrible because Jalen Brunson had most of those assists. Your point guard and Josh Hart cannot have most of your assists. As a team, we need to do better as a team in terms of passing the ball, playmaking, and getting others involved. I don't know why the Knicks are playing this level of basketball, this brand of basketball. We do not win games like this. We have never won games like this. Look at the regular season. The Knicks don't win if they don't pass the ball. If the Knicks want to stay competitive in games, they need to pass the ball at least 25 times. If they want to blow out teams, make 30 team assists or even more than that. If you want to start blowing out teams, make 30 team assists or even more than that. If you start doing that, you're going to blow out teams. I guarantee it. But the Knicks are going to have to start doing that. They're not even showing the effort of wanting to pass at times. And sometimes it's just poor spacing, which happens a lot, or poor communication, or nothing's being run. A lot of those things. But we have to fix it and come together as a team. Because Wingstop, we need more. Karl-Anthony Towns, we need more. We need to play better as a team. Have a better IQ as a team. Make better adjustments as a team. What a horrible game everybody witnessed tonight from the Knicks in that second half. The first half was okay. Second half, we watched a massacre. That game was over in the third quarter, basically. Tom Thibodeau still played his starters. I think maybe 2 or 3 minutes longer than I would have when the game was already done and out of reach and it didn't make sense anymore. But you know what? That's a small, very small issue in terms of all of the other things that we covered tonight. The Knicks need to do better. And I know that they will for Game 5. I know that they will for Game 6. There is no way they play like this and don't respond in a major way come Game 6. I can't wait to see what that response looks like. Because for me, I want to see a blowout victory on Friday. But without further ado, since that's the end of the post-game show, I'm going to jump right to the chat, see what you guys have to say really quickly. See if you guys have any topics for me for the roundup. And then we're going to break down the roundup topics, maybe go through 2 topics for tonight. And then after that, call it quits for tonight's game. Let's see here. I got my guy Jock Carter in the house. Leaves a comment saying, Troy, do you think the Knicks are able to stop the Celtics from bombing threes? I am. I do think it's possible. And the reason I think it's possible is because we saw it before. We saw them stop them from 3 before. And how did they do that? It's switching, communicating, and your wings scrambling over to the 3-point line, to the 3-point shooters. That's how you get it done. So clearly we can do it. We've made Boston miss a lot of threes before, but we can't expect to win games if we're allowing them to be open from 3. It doesn't make sense. Javier says, we won't compete against the Pacers. They use everyone, not like the Knicks who only run 7. He lives or dies with the starters, whether they perform or not. No confidence in the bench at all. Landry should play. I agree with that. I absolutely agree that Landry Shamet should be playing more minutes. Landry Shamet should be, you know what? I'm not going to talk about that now. That's a great comment, Javier. I'm going to add that to the roundup topics for today. Landry Shamet should play. That's a good point. I like that. Okay. So I got the Landry Shamet one. Anybody else? If you have any other topics, let me know. I'll write them down for the roundup and then we'll go from there. Can you discuss your predictions for the Western Conference playoffs in your roundups? Got it. I usually keep the roundups only for Knicks related stuff, not really, for other type of basketball related stuff. I appreciate it though. I can give you some of my predictions now though. I don't mind doing that. I think that is the Warriors game still going on? Who's leading right now? Because I'm not obviously I'm doing the post game. I have no idea. I usually watch the game when I'm done with the post game, so I have no idea who's up right now. But I would love it to be I'd love it to be the Timberwolves versus the Nuggets. I love it to be that series right now. That would be the best series for me to watch because I think it would be a must-see series. My goodness. Denver versus the Wolves probably doesn't get better than that. Let's see here. Issa says, what do you think about adding Hukporti in the rotation? He looks healthy during the regular season, even more than Mitch. It always feels like no shots went in every time he contested them. I actually like Hukporti playing a little bit more, but I understand he's not going to play. It's just the nature of the beast that we have with Tom Thibodeau. Just like Tyler Kolek, just like Pacome Dadier, just like any of our rookies. They're not going to play. It would be cool if they did. Of course, I can make the argument we need more size. So, of course, I would like to see more of them play, but yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. It'd be nice to see Hukporti or even Precious Achiuwa get added to the rotation so we see a couple more minutes with more size in the lineup, but I don't think it's going to happen. Corey says, Troy, salute. How you feeling today? Are you confident about Game 6? I am confident about Game 6. Shout out to you, by the way, Corey. I am confident for Game 6 because I know that the Knicks are not going to play this bad. And every time they play bad like this, they respond in a big way. We're going to be home at MSG, potentially winning the biggest game in MSG in what, decades? The Knicks are going to be locked in for this one. All the fans are going to be. It may not be how we wanted it to happen. Nobody wants to continue to play games when we could have went home and rested waiting for Indiana next week. But that's the way the dice rolled out for us right now. And we have a chance to control our future and end this series at home in 6 games on Friday. And hopefully the Knicks are able to do that. Husto says, Celtics fans are aware the refs were in their pocket this game. Hope it swings the other way Friday. Honestly, what I want more of, I just want more consistency. I don't care if the whistle gets blown because of aggressiveness or non-aggressiveness. Just keep it consistent. If you're going to call soft fouls on the Knicks, then call them on the Celtics. If you're going to call it one way against the Knicks, then call it the same way against the Celtics. It needs to be more even. It needs to be more fair. I will say that. The whistle has been very, very inconsistent. I needed to get a little bit better. Hopefully that happens as the postseason continues, but I don't think it changes in one game. So I still expect the whistle to, So I still expect the whistle to still not go the Knicks' way as we're moving forward here. But, we'll see what happens as we move on to a couple other games. Let me see what else I'm going to put in my roundup here today. I have right now Landry Shamet as part of my roundup topic for today. Let's see here. What else? Well, I'm going to look at the topics that we have that are going on the timeline right now. Let's see here. All right. Let's see here. I'm just looking right now to see if there is anything going on right now. Looking to see how Josh Hart is. He said he's peachy. 1 second. Let's see here. Again, what I'm doing right now is seeing if there's any topics left for me to add to my roundup that I'm going to do to end the show. So, wow. Jalen Brunson has some comments about those 5 fouls. I'm going to use that as part of the roundup as well, too. I like that, though. That's a crazy comment from the captain. All right. He's very disappointed, obviously. That's essentially what he's speaking about right now. Let me see here. Again, guys, I'm just looking through all the communication that we have. Corey, who's asking a question. Troy, are you disappointed too? Or are you going to be okay? I'm very disappointed. I'm after this, I'm probably going to be putting my head down for a while. I don't like the fact that we lost this game, but I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to win game 6. But yeah, I'm very frustrated by it, honestly. It's not great. Okay. And OG and Anobi. So the roundup topics as we go today are going to be Landry Shamet, OG, and Anobi. If I can get to it, the Knicks defensive issues against the Celtics, with 3 specifically. Yeah. Defensive effort. And I'll say Jalen Brunson as well, too. Post-game comments. All right. Issa says, have you ever made the effort to personally contact any of the coaching staff or someone who might have the connection to the staff? I've always wondered that. That's a pretty good question. To answer that question swiftly, I have, and I have been denied very quickly, as almost fast as I've asked. Coaching staff does not speak to podcasters. They don't care about us. They don't care about me. So yeah, I've asked a lot of times, a bunch of times, a dozen times. I've contacted the league. I've tried to get league passes, all those things, try to speak to any players, anything that I can. Unfortunately, I can't get the credentials yet to do that. I don't know if that ever would change, but as of right now, not possible. Very good question, though. I don't get that question often asked. But thank you guys for the chat gang tonight. I appreciate you. We're going to go up to the roundup topics right now. Let me just drink some water real quick. Make sure I just have a voice, you know. Excuse me. Okay. So we're going to go through the roundup today, roundup topics like we normally do. The roundup topics, normally they are topics that are either given by you guys or things thought out by me, things I see from the timeline during the postgame as we're speaking about the postgame, or things like that. Just certain things that I cannot speak about like I want to speak about during the week. So we talk about it now. One of the things I want to talk about is Jalen Brunson and his post-game comments. So again, the one thing I want to start with is Jalen Brunson and his post-game comments after Game 5. So Jalen Brunson fouled out of Game 5 with 7 minutes to go in the 4th quarter, effectively taking Captain Clutch out of the game. And that all happened because he picked up 5 quick fouls in the 3rd quarter. I've never seen that happen like that. I don't think that's ever happened to him in his career before. He was clearly upset, angry, and frustrated when he was looking at the crowd and gave a sarcastic smile. He also was clearly angry and upset and frustrated because he looked at the crowd, he smiled at them sarcastically and gave them a wave. he was very angry. He did not want to get out of that game, and clearly he wanted to have an impact, a better impact than he was able to give for New York tonight. And the Knicks definitely needed our closer down the stretch against the Boston Celtics in Game 5. I'm not sure if it would have made a big difference or if the Knicks would have been able to make a dent in that lead, but I know that having Captain Clutch is always better than not having him in clutch time when we need him the most. And the Knicks did not have access to him in the fourth quarter because he fouled out. Frustrating situation, obviously, for the Knicks, Jalen Brunson, the fans, and everybody else involved. But after the game, Jalen Brunson spoke to the media about fouling out. And his comments actually are, I wouldn't say shocking, but it is something to note. So let's go ahead and see exactly what Jalen Brunson said here. 1 second. Just going to the comment again. Jalen Brunson was asked about how disappointed he was in his performance tonight. And he said, a lot. He then continues and he said that the Boston Celtics came out with a search. Excuse me. He also continues here and states the Boston Celtics came out with a sense. Shoot, I can't speak today. My goodness. He also said the Boston Celtics came out with a sense of urgency that the Knicks didn't have. So again, the quote is the Boston Celtics came out with a sense of urgency that the Knicks didn't have. And clearly that's why they were able to take over in the third quarter. So we have to understand that there. He also said, I want to get this quote exactly. Yeah, he said this. So shout out to Barbara Barker, who asked Jalen Brunson the following question here. So journalist Barbara Barker contacted, let me read it from the top here. So first of all, shout out to New York Basketball on the app X for giving us the following information here. So Jalen Brunson had the following comments to say to Barbara Barker, who is a journalist with Newsday, about his third quarter performance, him picking up 5 fouls and everything that went on in the second half. So Barker asked Jalen Brunson, third quarter, have you ever gotten 5 fouls in a quarter like that? Brunson's response, 5 fouls in 1 quarter? He smiles and says, I don't know what you want me to say to that. Barker then says, I mean, how crazy was the quarter? And then Jalen Brunson says, I'm not even going to say anything. I'm sorry. And I think there's a reason why Jalen Brunson answered the question like that and why he was responding that way to the, there's a lot of noise right now outside of my apartment here. I apologize, guys. But like I said here, Jalen Brunson clearly was not happy after Game 5, and he let that be known to the media when answering questions. He would not even talk about or even discuss Game 5, the third quarter, him picking up 5 fouls, him fouling out, anything like that. And the main reason he was not talking about that was because he knew if he said anything, he might have gotten fined because he might be critical of the referees or something else. So better off not saying anything at all. Just be quiet, keep your mouth shut, don't say anything, and just be better than the next game. And I think that's exactly what Jalen Brunson is going to do. I said it before, but let me say it again. Jalen Brunson, every time he struggles or has a bad game, he responds the next game in a monster way by having a great game on all fronts. And I expect the exact same response from Jalen Brunson for Game 6 on Friday at home at MSG, giving those fans something to cheer for, because the Knicks now have an opportunity to close out the Boston Celtics in 6 at home, keeping home court advantage, using home court advantage to their advantage, using that MSG crowd as a 6-man, and hopefully closing out the Celtics and then getting some rest as they recover and wait to play the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals. But obviously, we are not skipping steps. We don't want to move faster than we need to right now. We have to take care of the Boston Celtics. We have to eliminate them, get them off the table. Then we can focus on the Indiana Pacers. We can talk about that matchup. We can talk about that series. We can talk about what we're going to see and what we're not going to see. But we can't rush. We can't just talk about it now because we think it's going to happen. I'm not going to race to get there. Let's first take care of business, which means getting 4 games, 4 wins on the Boston Celtics. Then after that, we can start talking about other aspects of the game, of the postseason, and things like that. But Jalen Brunson will do better. I expect him to do better. And after those comments, after that sarcastic smile and wave, the Boston Celtics should be very, very worried right now. Jalen Brunson is about to go on a heater and have a legendary Game 6. Something that we haven't seen ever before. We're about to see once Brunson takes that court for Game 6. Because after everything he just said and that performance, I think that's the only thing left that we haven't seen in this postseason yet that we're waiting for, that we will see in Game 6. But in order for that to happen, we're not only going to need to see the best performance from Jalen Brunson, we're going to need to see the best performance from Tom Thibodeau. His coaching, his adjustments or lack thereof was a problem in Game 5. Allowing Jalen Brunson to stay out there for 5 straight fouls in the third quarter is coaching malpractice. You don't do that. You never, ever do that. You keep who you need to keep out there, but if something is forcing you to pull a player, you pull them. Tom Thibodeau pulled Jalen Brunson with 5 fouls in the third quarter, and then he fouls out because he can't play the way he wants to play in the fourth quarter with 7 minutes to go. I couldn't believe my eyes. And when that happened, I said it in the moment. I think I even tweeted it out. The Knicks have lost Captain Clutch when they need him the most. I don't understand how that entire situation even happened. How that third quarter collapse even happened in Game 5. There were so many issues. And we just thought, why not add on to those issues by allowing Brunson to pick up 5 fouls and keep him out there anyways? It was the most frustrated I have been watching a Knicks game during this postseason. And I can't believe I'm saying that because there were a number of times against the Pistons I was equally as frustrated. But watching Captain Clutch not be there and foul out, yeah, that's going to be concerning. It's going to cause me to be a little disappointment. It's going to be a little concerning. It's going to cause me to be a little disappointed and very, very frustrated. How could you do that? How could you allow Brunson to pick up 5 fouls and think it was okay? We need better from our coaching staff and our players, but especially from head coach Tom Thibodeau. That was one of the worst postseason mistakes of Tom Thibodeau's career. And I'll stand on that. You never leave your all-star, your superstar out there after he picks up 3 straight fouls. And he was allowed to stay out there for 2 more fouls. Make it make sense. You can't, because I can't make it make sense. And nobody on this planet is going to convince me otherwise. Horrible, horrible decision by Tom Thibodeau. But hopefully we can keep it in the rear view as the Knicks take care of business, close everything out in Game 6, put this series behind us so we can finally move forward and look forward to exactly what is waiting for us in the Eastern Conference Finals. But first, we have to get there. The next topic I want to talk about today, it will be the final topic that we'll talk about today as well, too, because I don't want to go too long here. It's going to be Landry Shamet. Landry Shamet and OG Anunoby, but we'll start with Landry. The Knicks bench right now is Deuce McBride and Mitchell Robinson. Tom Thibodeau has already shown his true colors during the postseason. It's the starters, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and 5 to 10 minutes of campaign if you're lucky. Those are your bench players. That's your rotation. That's it. There is nothing else. But during certain situations, when you see the Knicks down 20, getting shot out of the gym, certain players are not having an impact. You look at the bench, you think to yourself, wouldn't now be a great time to make an adjustment, make a change, make a switch, do something that makes sense? One of those switches, at times for me, could be Landry Shamet. I want to remind everybody, to close the regular season, the Knicks' best three-point shooter was not Jalen Brunson, was not OG Anunoby, was not Mikal Bridges, was not Karl-Anthony Towns, was not even Deuce McBride. It was Landry Shamet. So our best three-point shooter is not only situational now, he doesn't play, rides the bench, and during moments where we could use him, we don't make the adjustment to put him in the game to see what he can do, to try to use him. Don't you think some second quarters would be nicer if we started them off with Landry Shamet instead of campaign in the backcourt? Or maybe, just maybe, we can start off some of the fourth quarters with campaign and Deuce McBride, or Landry Shamet and campaign, Landry Shamet and Deuce McBride. You can play it either way. My point is, the Knicks have depth that they refuse to use, even when we clearly need it. Landry Shamet being your best three-point shooter off the bench means you got to find him 5 to 10 minutes a night for him to shoot the three ball off the bench to help New York. You give him 4 to 5 possessions. You give him 4 to 5 plays that are three-pointers, and he hits on 4 of 5 of them. Those are 12 additional points that help you potentially win this game. The adjustments that the Knicks have made with their bench has been non-existent. They haven't made an adjustment. It is who it is. The 5 starters, Mitchell Robinson, Deuce McBride, and that's really it. Some few minutes of campaign. You don't see any other players added to the rotation or to the lineup or what we're trying to do. And sometimes that's a problem. When we win, nobody's going to complain about it. I do. Wins, losses, I always mention it. Wins or losses, I always say, I wish the rotation could expand, but likely nobody's going to talk about it because we're winning. So why would anybody? Now that we lost the game, everybody wants to talk about it. Everybody wants to talk about what we're doing, the minutes, who's on the bench, who's playing, and whatnot. And it shouldn't take losses for everybody to realize what we're actually running and what we're doing. The Knicks need to be better at minutes management and also recognizing who is on the floor, who deserves minutes, who doesn't deserve minutes, and what area we need help in the most. Is it defense at times or is it shooting? Because if I'm looking at the stats from tonight, the Knicks shot, 38% from the field, and the Boston Celtics shot 50%. So clearly, the Knicks needed more shooting from their bench, and they didn't get it because no adjustments were made. The Knicks can make better adjustments if they're able to read what's going on the floor and then make changes based off of that. They do that, they'll be a better team. If they did that, we would have saw Landry Shamet tonight. If they did that, we would have saw Mitchell Robinson early on in that third quarter. But they're not making the adjustments as they need to make them. And it is hurting New York. It is hurting the Knicks and what they're trying to do in the process. We really don't have a bench, not a bench that we can rely on. We should be looking to create that bench so we have that moving forward. And Landry Shamet is a huge part of what we would be able to do if the Knicks expanded the rotation, gave him minutes, and allowed him to do what he does best for this team. Shoot. Tom Thibodeau, please make the adjustment when we need it and play Landry Shamet, because I truly feel he has a role on this team that is not being explored, utilized, or even thought about. Just think about the issues that we have already. And then you'll understand, like I do, why he deserves some minutes off the bench. That's Landry Shamet. Now let's talk about Wingstop. Clearly, I want Tom Thibodeau to expand the rotation when needed and necessary. That would include playing players like Landry Shamet and also some other players like maybe even DeLon Wright. But some other things that I want to see Tom Thibodeau do is get at some of our players like OG Anunoby, like Mikal Bridges, holding them accountable for what they do and don't do when they're out there. OG Anunoby in Game 5, incredible defense. Very good defense, like we always expect him to play. However, his offense was terrible. He made one shot in Game 5. He missed all of his other shots, open, not open, contested, whatever. He was still missing shots. He did not have that same impact on offense that we saw against Detroit. Where is Demon Anunoby? Where is Demon Mode? Where has that player gone? If we even had 10 points from him and Mikal Bridges, the Knicks tonight are probably still in this game. That's how little of contributions we had from the entire team tonight, especially Wingstop, especially OG Anunoby. OG must do better. He needs to do better. We need to see him do more on offense. And we all know he is capable of doing better on offense. So the fact that he's not doing better, it kills me. It's mind-boggling. I look at OG Anunoby sometimes, guys. I watch him on the floor. He gets shots. They pass him the ball. It's not like they're icing him out. But sometimes these drives, they're not right drives because there's too many people inside the paint. What you should be doing is driving, faking, taking contact, and getting to the line. But he's not doing that. He's driving in traffic and getting blocked, not finishing, or maybe getting a call, maybe not. And then we're going the other way anyways. Anunoby has not been in demon mode since this series started against the Boston Celtics, at least offensively. Defensively, he's definitely been there. I always expect him to be there defensively, though. I don't doubt Anunoby defensively. Where my doubt starts to creep in is on offense when we see time and time again he has performances like this where he's not stepping up, he is not doing what he needs to do, and he's hurting the Knicks on offense in the process. We need to see more from Wingstop. We need to see Mikal Bridges be aggressive, stay aggressive, and if the shot is not falling, attack and get to the line. Anunoby, the exact same thing. If your shot is not falling, if the three is not falling, then run, attack, get to the line, continue to get to the line, throw some fakes into your game, throw some assists into your game, make Mitchell Robinson a lob threat, pass the ball to Jalen, make him a little bit more off ball. There are so many things that OG Anunoby can do, is capable of doing, especially on offense, that the Knicks either refuse to let him do, don't allow him to do, or he's not doing it in the moment because he's focused on other things. Maybe focused on defense, or maybe focused on defense or focused on this specific play. But either way, Anunoby not having good games for us, Anunoby struggling from the field, it's going to be very difficult for the Knicks to win more playoff games without more help. It's going to be very difficult for the Knicks to win more postseason games without the help of our wings, without OG Anunoby, without Mikal Bridges, without those two playing at a better level, a higher level, a top tier level. We're not going to be able to win games. It's impossible. We need more contributions from them, because it's not like their contributions are going to other people. It's not like, okay, they didn't do well, nobody else is stepping up, and the Knicks are struggling collectively as a team, together, universally. And when we struggle like that, universally, as a team, it makes you wonder and think where we're going wrong, where the issue is. Is it coaching? Is it the team? Is it lack of communication? Is it all the above? Likely all the above. OG Anunoby is a game changer for New York and should be on both ends of the floor. He needs to do better. We need to be better in terms of getting him more involved, getting him better looks, and helping him understand. Getting him better looks and helping him understand that you don't always have to go full gas right away and try to attack the rim. Sometimes you can make it look like you're doing that, fake somebody out, draw contact, and then go to the line and still get those points anyways. But there is a way for the Knicks to better utilize Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, to get more from them, to make sure they have a better impact on offense. And the Knicks must explore that. And one of the main ways to do it is to tell both of them to be aggressive to start. Look for your shot when it's there, but when it's not, be aggressive and attack. And that could make the difference in the Knicks not only staying in a game, but taking over a game, winning that game, and potentially winning that game, potentially stealing that game, sealing it, and making sure the Knicks are on the right side of history. Right now, the Knicks potentially could be on the wrong side of history, and I don't want to see that happen. This Knicks team is one of the most talented teams I have ever seen in my life. We have the talent on offense, the talent on defense. Normally, we're well coached. Normally, we're communicating on defense, on switching, speaking with one another out there, making sure everybody's voice is heard. But during Game 5, the Knicks dropped a lot of those principles. They became a team that really is a team that we haven't seen before, especially for that third quarter where they did not respond, didn't even try to respond, and they looked defeated in the fourth quarter, when normally this team in the fourth looks like they can beat anyone, no matter what. There was a level of difference in this team tonight that we saw that I did not like, and that they need to correct immediately, ASAP, before Game 6 on Friday. But I haven't lost my faith or my belief. The Knicks have the talent and the roster available right now to beat the Boston Celtics, to beat this version of the Boston Celtics. Game 5 was a travesty. We were blown off the floor. It wasn't good. I understand if you feel bad, if you're angry, if you're frustrated. I am too. But do not let those frustrations take you away from the overall big picture. let me bring it in back for you. The Knicks are 3-2 right now in this series. We lead this series. Game 6, another closeout opportunity for the Knicks, is at MSG, our home, where we have the opportunity to close out the Celtics and give Madison Square Garden the biggest win in franchise history, maybe in a few decades. That's important. The Knicks should be looking at that game as a must win because it is. And they must be thinking right now to themselves, they dropped game 5. There's no way they can drop game 6 in their house. And they should be looking not only to win game 6, but do it in extraordinary fashion, in a way that makes everybody understand it doesn't matter what Boston did, who they had, who's available or not. The Knicks were always going to win this series no matter what. And they can put that statement out there if they have a very good game 6. And I expect a very good game 6, especially with Jalen Brunson having the performance he just had. Captain Clutch will not only be in Captain Clutch will not only be in full effect in game 6, he is going to be our closer again. And I fully anticipate him having a monster game 6, a monster closeout game for the Knicks, and a game that we're talking about for years to come. Because Brunson, the only way he knows how to respond to negativity and criticism is in one way: pushing forward, doing your best, and giving performances that nobody ever expected. I've watched and seen Jalen Brunson enough in my life to know never, ever count out the captain. But what about you guys? What do you think about the Knicks losing this game and dropping this game to the Boston Celtics 127-102, effectively giving the Celtics life and inspiring them by allowing them to shoot so many threes? Let me know how you feel about this in the comments section below, guys, because honestly, I would love to hear from you. But that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, go ahead and smash that like button, leave a comment below. And of course, guys, please subscribe to the channel. Until next time, Knicks fans, take care of yourself, your families, and each other. Peace and love.